everybody. Merlin Mililli here. Welcome to my interview part 2. In this part of this interview, I'm going to talk about my present. Part 1 was about my past, and this is more about my adult life. So, I have 3 children, Christopher, Julia, and Stephanie. I raised 4, and that I also raised my stepdaughter Melissa, so I often say I have 4 children. I love them all dearly. They're my masterpieces. I'm married. My husband is father of all 4 of the children. Only I'm not the mother of just Melissa. I'm not biologically. I met my husband in Escondido in 1999 through our mutual friend Joanne, who I met in group therapy for my PTSD. I moved out to California because I needed to get away from a disaster area. I had miscarried a child that the child's father's hand, or foot rather. He kicked me, and I miscarried. I didn't know I was pregnant at the time. And this isn't my husband. This was another guy a long time ago that I try not to think about. So, my first child, I miscarried and gave birth to 3 children, 2 C-sections and 1 natural. I'm not sure you wanted to know that. I met my husband in Escondido, California, when I came out to California after I received PTSD from my last boyfriend, and my husband, he wasn't my husband then. His name is Scott. We'll call him Scott. Scott, Joanne, Joanne's daughter, Joanne's daughter's 2 friends, Scott's best friend Kendall, and me in 3 cars, Scott's car, Joanne's car, and my car, traveled cross country together from Escondido to Pennsylvania. Everyone else was going to the Rainbow Gathering in the Allegheny National Forest in 1999, the National, and I wanted to go back east to go to Bridgeport, actually, where I was born, to go to the Gathering of the Vibes. I never made it to the Gathering of the Vibes because I lost my car in Utah. Now, before we even left the Pacific coast, Scott and I, and Joanne and Kendall actually, went out to the beach one night before we left, and Scott and I had our first kiss out there, and he kissed me, and then he stripped naked and ran into the ocean. I think maybe he thought I was going to strip naked too. I didn't. I just stood there and watched him. Thought, this one's going to be interesting, challenging even, and I was right. So, I love him. Still, and it's 20 years later, so that's something. But, so we, I decided to stay at the Rainbow Gathering. I found my car there. I lost it in Utah because we had been stopping at every other rest stop, and I had got into Scott's car. I didn't have anything. All of my belongings, everything I owned, was in my car. I had my little purse. I didn't even have a shirt or shoes. I had on overalls and a bathing suit. And I had no shoes. It was summertime. It was June. But still, anyway, yeah, so I found my car at the Rainbow Gathering, but it had already, it was already like, I think it was the second day of the Gathering of the Vibes, and the Gathering of the Vibes was a 3-day thing, and it wasn't even the 4th of July, which is the height of the Rainbow Gathering. So Scott and I were approached by this cat named Allstate. I named him Allstate kind of accidentally because I couldn't remember his name. All I could remember was that he worked for Allstate. So I called him Allstate, and it stuck. Because then after, I think he quit Allstate, but he kept traveling, so Allstate. Anyway, I know now his name is Dave. Shout out to Dave. Anyway, he asked us if we'd like to help him run Share Kitchen and run it during the week, because him and his friends from the Share organization, it was Sandy Hollow Arts and Recreation or something like that. And it was an organization in the Harrisburg area of Pennsylvania, and they wanted to run a kitchen at the Rainbow Gathering, and so, excuse me, Scott had been to Rainbow Gatherings as a child, and he knew a lot about the rules and how to run a kitchen, and I'm a hard worker, and I know how to cook, and so we made a good team, and we decided to run the free kitchen, the Share Kitchen at the National that year. We became Main Kitchen. They moved Main Meadow up to our front door in the middle of the gathering, so it got really intense, and we fed thousands and thousands of people out of our kitchen that year. So that was fun. It really was fun. But we've been running kitchens now together. Well, we stopped. I haven't run a kitchen in quite some time. I stopped in like 2013, I think. I ran my last kitchen 2012, 2013, and I got tired of the constant police presence and the freezing of my assets and the stealing of my donation can and the ungrateful people that didn't feel they needed me to help them or whatever. It just got to be too much, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I decided to just focus on my family and get them a home and make them a hearth and, make them meals and not worry about all of humanity so much. Paddle your own canoe, kids. Anyway, so, people often ask me why I chose raising my children over my career, and I just would like to clarify that I don't feel I did. I feel I chose a career in which I could still raise my children. So I kept working, even though I wasn't getting paid, and I wasn't really doing gigs, though I did busk cross country twice while I, was raising my children. And so they came with me. They were with me. So I kept writing. I kept playing music for money. I kept, I was still working. So I didn't give up my career for my children. I have both. was diagnosed with epilepsy just recently, I think, well, like 2 years ago. My doctor and I finally figured it out. It just took so long to figure out. I'm pretty sure I've had it my whole life, and my doctor thinks so too. And I remember episodes as young as like maybe 5 or 6 where I remember trying to get to this little antique couch my sister and I had in our room, and I didn't get there. I fell on the floor, and I couldn't quite explain why or figure out why, but I did not get there. And, I remember times like waking up on the floor in my room or waking up on the floor out or on the ground outside, and I didn't know what happened. If a seizure knocks you unconscious, you really don't know what happened. You're unconscious, so you can't really tell what the heck is going on. And if you're a little kid, you know even less. And so, but then I remember having a seizure at my friend's house in college during my first experience with college finals. I fell on the floor, and my friend was like, "Dude, you fainted." And I was like, I didn't, I don't think I fainted. I think it was a seizure. So, then I lost a job, like in New Haven, Connecticut. I worked at a art store there, and I woke up on the floor of the bathroom, and they laid me off like that day. And I couldn't explain why I woke up on the floor of the bathroom or the time that had lapsed. I didn't know. I didn't understand that I had epilepsy, but now I understand it. So I take my oil. I'm cannabis oil. My doctor has me on cannabis oil, but I make it myself because people with cannabis oil don't have any rights still, and people with epilepsy seem to also not have rights really. But I feel I have the right to not have seizures, and I live in California, so I take my oil as per my doctor. I even had to go see a specialist to get the amount right, and I have to take it twice a day. And I've been seizure free for over a year now, so yay me, with the help of the cannabis oil. But epilepsy is one of those things that it gets worse as you get older. So it became really obvious that I was having dangerous seizures. I was hurting myself. I was falling down. I was, it was not cool. So I had to do something. So I went to see the doctor. And, it gets misdiagnosed a lot, epilepsy. They actually had me on some psych meds because they thought I was crazy, because I kept saying, I freeze up. And that's essentially what is happening when you have a seizure. It's like when an engine freezes because it doesn't have oil in it, and that's why the cannabis oil it's my oil in my engine keeping me running. And if I don't have it, I have seizures. So I take my oil, and I love my oil. Hemp, hemp, hooray! And so Holy Grail. I keep getting questions about Holy Grail and what's going on with Holy Grail. So I had some folks on board that are no longer on board for Holy Grail, so I had to kind of revamp and reroute. But I'm back on track, and I'm in the studio now with Holy Grail's first album. It's going to be self-titled Holy Grail, and I hope you'll all like it. It's new age rock, and a lot of vocal, a lot of cool chimey noises, and I don't know. It should be fun and interesting, and I hope you all like it. Okay, so I am looking for representation, especially in regard to Holy Grail, to try to get a Grammy. I'd like to get Best New Band, and I'd like to get Best New Album. When the album comes out and we get rolling, I'd also like to do a tour for the new album. So, you know, shout out to anybody who can help me with any of that. Please, I need all the help I can get. And I'm hoping once this whole quarantine thing is over, to really start working with some more people. Because basically, I've been working alone. I make the love show by myself. I write, I direct, I film it myself. I have a tripod. There's not really enough room in Mililli Studios for a crew, so it's really small. It's a little building in my backyard, essentially. So, it's a small operation right now, but I hope to expand. Obviously, Universal started out of a van, so why can't I start out of a little tiny building in my backyard? I'm writing screenplays, and I plan to be making movies out of Mililli Studios also. So, it's coming along, slow but sure. Videos, the love show, movies. I'm writing an extravaganza, which is like this really complicated production. I'm writing amazing music for it with all these different classical movements, and I'm designing stages that get up and walk around, and it's going to be more where the crowd sits and the stages move. So it should be interesting. And yeah, I guess that's it for part 2. And stay tuned for part 3, where I just talk about my albums. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being interested. And thanks for asking questions. Oh, and that's Merlin, like the wizard, Mililli, M-I.